Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make Dig Dug inside of Scratch. So here's my game here. This is what it does so far. A little basic of it. Not like the whole entire Dig Dug thing, but... So we got the rocks programmed. See how it also falls down. And then we got the popping figurine. Now I also have lives and scores based on all the fruit too. You get some more points. So... And you know what I'm saying? So this is the basics of it. So it's, like level 1-ish. So let's get started. What I have here is I have already the sprites, like player, enemy, dragon. You can just do whatever you guys want. And if you actually liked the ones I have here, this is shared. So this doesn't say shared because this is a new project for the video, but the original is shared, and this is my account name. I'll probably put a link in the description for you guys as well. So to start, on my backdrops, I want to make sure I have like the typical setup. When green flag clicked, I'm doing erase all. If you guys don't know what the pen extension is, you go here and you can add pen. These are more extensions that allow separate kinds of blocks. So I got erase all because upon a new game you don't want the all that black stuff. Like it looks like he's digging. That's essentially what we're using the pen for. So I switched backdrop to game because I have a couple backdrops because when they are when they do good and when they lose the game. So got some variables: score 0, lives 3. You can do how many lives you want. Now I set some variables to basically how I programmed to be able to tell if the left rock and right rock should fall. So that's what that's in regard to, and I basically made them kind of like little booleans, true false situation. If you guys don't know what that is, then just never mind, disregard that. Basically I set it to no. And I got my enemy sprite and my dragon sprite have a couple costumes. So what I did here was they have a squished one, which is actually very easy to accomplish. What you do is you have a regular sprite and you hit duplicate. And when you click it, when you're in the not bitmap, I'm forgetting what the vector or something like that, you can just basically go like this. Oh, sorry. I'm on the wrong tool. That's why it's not working. That makes a lot of sense. You can just do this, and depending on how squished you want him, and now it looks like he's squished. So that's all I did. It's not very difficult. And then I just literally wrote the words pop. I don't have any sound effects or music in my game yet, so that's kind of, you do what you want to do, And just for the dragon, the only thing different he has is the fact that he breathes fire. So other than that, that's the only difference there. And for fruit, I have 4 different kinds, so it's not like one boring, simple fruit. I mix it up between 4 different costumes, 4 different fruits, all from the sprite library. And this is the player, which when he shoots out to, balloon pop his enemies, that's what that's going to do. And, alright, so I went over that. I'm going to start in the player. So close this over here so we have some more room here. So what I'm going to do here is just start grabbing the when green flag clicked. Now, like in those pen blocks I was describing, because we want to make it look like he's digging with the black, I'm going to set the pen size to 24 because that's just what I liked, and that's what size you could see when I was playing my game. And I set the color to black, obviously. Ugh. And then I want to put pen down, otherwise we won't be able to see anything. So I want to always make sure that he switched cost when he starts the game. He shouldn't be shooting anymore in case he is. And from the way I programmed it, he's going to be facing the right hand side, which is 90 degrees. As you can see, there's an arrow pointing to the right. And for my go-to position, based on my little I drew this and everything, so it's going to be -14, -2, basically. As you can see, it says player, that's where he is right here. He's at the starting position, and those are the values there. So now I want to make sure I grab a forever loop, so when I go through the game, I can be able to tell that this is happening the whole entire game, and not just one single time. So the forever loop will end when the game ends, of course. So I'm just going to create, basically, there's going to be 2 if statements, but they're going to be, these 2 are different from each other. That's why they're outside each other. See how it is underneath? Because we're going to put one in there, basically. So for right here, I want to basically detect if we're touching the rocks. So since there's 2 of them, I want to do or, because either or, not both of them need to be touched, just one of them in order for it to be recognized. And what I do is, since we're going to be creating the player's speed at a speed of 2, so when we do move -2, it's gonna basically 2 minus 2 is 0, so there will be no speed, meaning the player won't be able to walk through the rock. And basically, to do that, we go into sensing, and you can just basically saying, am I touching rock left, because that's what I named them, so I can know which one's on what side. And now we're going to go down to the bottom. So what I did here, this is how I detect if he's touching either the dragon or the enemy, because he's supposed to respawn when that happens. So if touching color of the dragon is what I'm going to do here. But I want to make sure I do this right, because when we go in, just because he's touching him, that doesn't necessarily mean, what if he's popping him and the sprite ends up touching him or something like that. So just to ensure that there's no glitches going on, I make sure that we say if dragon size is 100, because we're gonna set them to 100. So you can eyedrop tool, and I'll just grab, because the green's so much everywhere, it's very hard to be able to touch that sprite without it being green, so this should ensure 100% success. And then you just have to duplicate it. See how it just goes right in? Just in case anyone was confused, I did it twice. We just want to replicate it, but for enemy, and it might glitch out and switch that on you. Just double check. And I'm gonna grab the red on the, oh, what happened? Oh, that makes sense. Because there's no code running. That wasn't gonna work for me. There we go. So now I'm gonna go grab that red. Alright, cool. Sounds good to me. So now what I'm doing here is I'm gonna check that you actually still have lives left, because if you don't have any lives left, the game's over. Otherwise, because the game doesn't know, Scratch doesn't know what to do here. So if your lives are greater than 0, then we're good. Because if you have no lives, 0 lives, you shouldn't be playing the game. It's a game over situation, right? So we're gonna say change score by -1, because that's how we subtract here. And then we're gonna, where is my, oh, there it is, I'm blind. So we want to point in direction 90, and then go back to that original position. But if the game's over, we want to switch the backdrop to losing, and then we stop all, which will stop all the scripts everywhere in the whole game, for the record. So now we want to be able to have a message and we want to be able to shoot in order to pop up the balloons as the player. So we're going to switch costume. And I like 0.8 seconds. Actually, I think it was 0.6. But we go shooting because we were originally at standing, and then we want to go back to standing. So that's all that needs. And then for up here, we want to make sure the pen is up, because what this is going to do, we're going to say respawn player. So we're going to do pen up, and we're going to do change lives by -1, right? So then we can take oh, did I say change score? My bad. That was supposed to be change lives, but doesn't matter. That's what's going on here. I'm just changing the code over here. But so what you do is, this is your original starting position, and then you want pen down again. So then what you can do, and we go in here, and we say broadcast respawn player. Alright, so that's what that's gonna do. And oh, my bad. Okay, sorry. Just ugh. So what we have here is a player. So obviously you can't move him left and right, up and down, or anything like that yet, right? So we didn't finish programming the player, but that was like the tough part. So what you do is here, not hard here. You know, you got the simple like when right arrow key pressed, when left arrow key pressed, when up arrow key pressed, and guess last but not least, when down arrow key pressed. And what you want is, I have this set rotation style. Did I do that yet? No, I didn't. Okay. So set rotation style is going to be on all of them. And then point in direction point in direction. I do realize I did this the slow way, but I keep doing that. Old habit. So for up and down, you need Y, and for left and right, you're going to need X. So up is up, in case you don't know the numbers. Right is right, left is left, and down is down. Perfect. So when I told you the speed was 2 earlier, so if you go left, it has to be -2. So then right is +2, and then up is 2, and down is -2. If you know your axes, then you know what I'm talking about. So oh, I don't know why I was just so if I zoom out here, you can see everything that we have so far. So right here, that was the message that respawns the player. We didn't send it here. Remember, change lives by -1. I have it displayed on my screen. You can do that through the check marks on here. That's why these are hidden, because these are just for the programming. And then this is the controls for the player. So if we hit play, we can move him now. So hit spacebar, and that works. So now we're going to go into our enemy, and we're going to go into when green flag clicked, and I want to set my size to 100 because he changes the size when he's getting popped. And we want to make sure that we can see him because we might hide him when he gets popped. So then we want to make sure, because we have a bunch of costumes of him, we want to make sure we're switching to the right costume in the beginning, which for me is self. So I want to make sure that his rotation style is also to left right. And then for me, I point him in the direction of left. And then his simple go-to position is, where I have placed him here. So I want to not instead of forever, I'm actually doing repeat until. And we're just going to say repeat until he's touching the player. But to ensure that it's proper and not going to bug out, I want to say if he's touching the player and the costume of player costume number rather, not costume name, I just want to be complicated, is going to be 2, which is the shooting one. Because that means he's gonna basically stop. So I gave him a speed that I liked, and that was 0.8. And then I have 2 if statements in there. If underneath each other, not inside of each other. And then we'll have the wait until after that. Because that's the easy part. I know it's a weird number, but that's the number I liked. Bum 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 bum. Do 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 do. Now for me, I grabbed the positions from where he is, because you can grab this guy and move him, and you'll get new numbers. So I wanted to make sure that, you know how he walks back and forth in between this area? That's why I do -196 greater, because make sure it's for your negative values. Be careful. Oops, I put a random symbol there. Point in direction 90. And there we go. Oh, crap. There we go. So, negative 90 left, 90 right, obviously, right? I don't know why I saved that. Okay, so this is to make sure that our enemy goes back and forth in between that area. That's all that is. Those are my values because of my guy. This is, like I said, just pay attention because if you moved him over here, it'd be different. I'm just saying. So, it's not like messing it. So you need to keep hitting spacebar to, you have to hit it a couple times in Dig Dug in order for the guy to pop out. So that's what it is. Just press it, and then you have to make sure that they've lifted it in order for them to press it again. That's all this code is. It's not complicated at all. So then change the size one more time. Zero point 0.3 seconds. So change size, point in direction 90, and switch costume to pop because that's the one that I have with all the text popping up. Then I want to wait 0.5. Oops. Oh my gosh, I'm just trying to grab the block here. I'm trying to wait 0.5 seconds. And then I hide him because he popped, so he shouldn't be on the screen anymore, obviously. Then I'm going to give you some points. Like, congratulations, you get whatever amount of points you want. Let's say 100. So, simultaneously, because this is a one green flag collect, if you do another one green flag collect, these guys will, the code run at the same time. Because this has all these complicated like ifs and repeat until, so I don't want it to be in the way of that. I just want it to literally just run also. Because I want to check here. I mean, if you want to check for the rock left, rock right, he's on the left-hand side here, honestly. So he's honestly not really going to be touching rocks. But if he were to, like, how they move around in the original game and go under there, then, that's when it would be a problem. So you would just switch the costume to what I made it to be. That's not the right area. Switch costume to the squished one that I showed you guys how to do earlier. Wait 0.5 seconds. And then hide. Now for the dragon, it's going to be quite similar. So what you can do is you can just drag it and drag it. So then when you go into the dragon, you hit clean up blocks. So it's, for me, it's like calm. And see how my positions are different for the dragon guy here. But this is going to be the same, that's going to be the same, this is going to be different. So I'm basically going to have to put X position is greater than 196, positive 196. This is for me, my values. If yours are close or happen to be the same, or you've been following mine, then I guess it will be the same. But this is, all good, all good. I have Pop the same costume names. You can give him, this is harder to get. I'll give you 250. And Pop right, because he's on the other side. It's still squished to squished. The only thing now here is to get him to be breathing fire. That's the only thing that's actually different than the enemy. So, again, simultaneous code. So, we're gonna do a separate when green flag clicked, and I'm gonna say repeat until touching player with that costume of 2. And we're gonna say, like, pick a random amount of time, basically. So if I do pick random inside of the wait block, and maybe every 3 to 7 seconds is what I chose, probably. So switch costume to breathing fire, obviously. That's not. And then you want to switch costume back to what I called calm. And in between there, you just want to wait 0.7 seconds or something like that. And that will basically allow him to breathe fire. Let's see. Oh, it's still down there from earlier. Oh, right, I can't change it while it's running. Okay, well, we'll program the rocks now anyway. But basically, obviously, it works. Like, dragon. He's squished because he's touching the rock, but let's program the rocks. So we'll go to when green flag clicked. And because when they fall, we also want to do that pen stuff, we're just going to also do it here, like we did with the player. If you remember, it was 24, and it was straight up black. So because they can also disappear and be done, we want to show it. And then this is where I have him on the left-hand side. That's his position, like I've been saying the whole time. So then we're going to go until, wait until, we're going to go in operators. So what we're going to say is, we're going to wait until the Y position of the player is less than -75. Because that's how I'm programming, like, youth being relative proximity, you know, close distance-ish. So if the Y position of the player is less than -75, and the Y position of the player is greater than -140, that gives it a range, like between here and here. If you're in between these areas, I mean, which basically means right underneath the rock here. For me, those are my values. But we have another end here. So we're going to do the other side, which is kind of the same thing, just with the X position. So want two less than signs. I'm going to go here, to go here, to then say we're going to start messing around with the X position on the side. That's why it's different. The X position is going to be on this side. This one's going to be on this side. And because, again, these are, you know, whatever your values are. So -140. And for me, it's -152. So now you can basically go to your variables, because from earlier, is rock falling left, you know? So I'm going to set is rock falling left to yes, it is falling, because if you remember earlier, they were set to no. So that's what we're doing here, setting it to yes now. So now I want to put pen down, and then I'm going to do repeat until. So repeat until touching the edge, because that's when you want it to disappear. Touching the edge. So then we want to change y by -1 because we want to fall until it hits the edge, obviously. So whatever speed you want is up to you. As long as it has the minus, it will fall down. So then we want if touching player broadcast respawn. Boom. Last but not least, hide and pen up so it doesn't draw when it's changing the location. Now, what do you want to do here? Well, you want to save yourself some time, and you want to just drag it into the other rock. So we go into the other rock, and the only difference is you're gonna change whatever the position was. For me, I liked 165 and 39, and for me, I had to say that the Y position was greater than 149, and oh, I'm sorry, the X position. Silly me. The X position was greater than 149, and the X position is less than 164. You gotta figure out your values, unfortunately, unless you have mine. And then we gotta go on the other side, and it's gonna be Y positions. You know, it gets all blurry when it runs. So Y position of player is greater than -54, and Y position of player is less than 10. Everything else is the same. Yes, 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 yes. Except for this one, because it's a different rock. Last but not least, we will do the fruit. Now the fruit, if you notice, I did make a block. So what I did was spawn fruit. And we don't need any of these, don't worry about it. It's not a complicated block. It's just because we want to keep calling it. So switch costume to pick random 1 to 4. Now you want to say set left or right to also pick random 1 to 2 because it's 50-50 shot. It's either left or it's on the right hand side. That's what I did. It was basically my 2 spots for fruit spawning locations. You can always add more and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So if it equals 1, otherwise it would be 2. Hence the if else. So if left or right is equal to 1, and these are my spawning locations. Now we have when green flag clicked, forever, if So need equals in all of them. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to say, hey, if we're touching the player, then we want to check what fruit it is. Because if it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, because like I said, I did have different fruit options, so it'll basically be on how many points you're gonna get. I know I keep doing it the long ways. I keep doing this to myself. Oops. So let's put them all in here. Let's just say 50, 75, 100, 500, do whatever you want. And then you have to call the block or it will never run this code. I want to wait 7 seconds because that's what I like. It's just the amount of time before it will spawn again, basically. And here we go. Oh, crap. Boom. And yeah, that is how you make DigTug inside of Scratch. Any comments, questions, recommendations for other videos in the comments below.